Here we are at the entrance of the Parroquia de Cincel, parish church here in the Igreja Episcopal Anglicana do Brazil. Well, the church was founded in 1916, so it's got quite a long history. It's one of the older churches, older Anglican churches here in the state of Rio Grande do Sul and in Brazil generally. Immediately behind me we have the former seminary attached to the church, the Anglican church here in Rio Grande do Sul. Nowadays it houses a library and a museum. On my left we have the former housing for seminarians. We keep our vestments in this wardrobe here. You can see we've got a selection of vestments, some for the deacons, the priests, and the acolytes. This one in particular is mine. We've got my alb and my surplice, which I'll be getting dressed into in just a moment. We're here at the entrance of the church. Acolytes tend to arrive here around 30 minutes before the beginning of the service, so that's 9:30 a.m. for this particular parish. Congregants tend to come around 15 to 10 minutes beforehand. First of all, we come here to get our Book of Common Prayer, our hymn books. We then proceed to the vestry to get vested and to set up the altar. Here in the nave of the church, as we can see, it's quite traditional for an Anglican parish. We have pews. Up here we've got the flag of the Igreja Episcopal Anglicana do Brazil, the 19th province of the Anglican Communion. Up here we have the flag of the Anglican Communion itself. As you'll see, we also have a small statue of the Blessed Virgin up here above my head. Well, here we have our hymn board. It's here that we put the numbers for the particular hymns and the psalm, which will be read and sung during the service. We keep our numbers, our wooden numbers, in the storage area out back, and these are changed every service. In some parishes, this is the duty of the acolyte. It's not one of my duties in this particular parish. We have another congregant who tends to do this. Here we have the processional cross, which is traditionally carried by the acolyte, called the crucifer, at the beginning of each service during the procession. Some parishes use this during every service, others, like our own, only use it on special occasions such as Easter. It's here that we store the sacred vessels and other liturgical equipment used during the services. As we see, we have a diagram here on the wall explaining the different placements of the sacred vessels for each service, and this corresponds very closely to what we do in practice in this particular parish. So I'll be walking you through some of the different vessels and their purposes one by one. Here we have the cruets, we have the agua cruet and the vino cruet. As the name suggests, we use these for containing the water and the wine for use in the Eucharist. Here we have the lavabo bowl and the lavabo towel. The function of these is for the priest to wash his hands during the Holy Eucharist, and I'll demonstrate what the acolyte does during this part of the service. The acolyte will place the lavabo towel over his arm like this, and hold with the lavabo bowl in his right hand like so, while walking towards the priest who will be preparing the Holy Eucharist at the altar. Here I have the corporal The corporal is the cloth which goes on the altar on which the chalice will be placed. So we put it on the altar like so at the beginning of our preparations for each service, and we generally try to line everything up. Here we keep the chalice itself. Chalices can look a bit different depending on the parish. Our particular one is silver. Some chalices will be gold. Of course, the chalice represents the cup used by Christ at the Last Supper. Now, what we do here is we take the purificator, which is this linen here, and we place it like so over the chalice. Following that, we take the paten and place it over the purificator. The next step is to take the unconsecrated host and to place it on the paten. As we can see, the host often contains some symbol or picture, often a cross or a phrase such as Paz, as we see here. The next step is to take this, which is called the pal. We place the pal over the host and the paten. We then take the chalice veil. Now, as we can see here, there are multiple colors, various colors, depending on the liturgical season, right? So we actually have a calendar which helps to explain the different colors used at the different points of the year. So I'll just give you an example here for February. So as we see, the green are the dates. The green boxes are the dates on which we should use the green, the green colored cloths. We do have a red colored one coming up, and this depends on the special feast or the special liturgical celebration, and we can see it changes as we progress throughout the year. Okay, so following the pal, we take the veil, and we will now head with the veil and the burse towards the altar where we will set all this up. So we place the chalice in the center here. The cross on the chalice should be oriented toward the priest or the celebrant. We then place the chalice veil over the chalice like so. Now, we don't want to just throw it on there, we want to make it all tidy, so we tend to even out the sides here, stretch them out a little bit, and make it look all nice. We then place the burse, the little hat, on top like this, and I generally recommend coming to the front, just checking how it looks from this side as well, making sure everything is nice and even, like so. Here we have the tabernacle, where we store the Blessed Sacrament after it has been consecrated by the celebrant, if it's to be used at a later date, for example in the next service, or for bringing the Blessed Sacrament to people who are unable to attend the service due to illness or other reasons. So we'll come a bit closer and I'll show you what we store in here in particular. So inside the tabernacle we have various items, but of most importance we have the ciborium, which is this special vessel here. The ciborium will be covered with this veil. This shows that the sacrament contained within has already been blessed. This is the presence lamp. It's always lit during services to show that the consecrated host or the Blessed Sacrament is inside the tabernacle. This little box here is called a pyx. Its function is to hold the consecrated host. It's similar in some ways to the ciborium. The difference is that if the ciborium is already in use, due to more of the sacrament being blessed, this can store the already consecrated sacrament and can be placed in the tabernacle. It's also portable, so it's easy to carry the consecrated host to the sick or to those who are unable to attend the service. Now I'm going to briefly explain the different parts of the sanctuary, which is this area where I am standing right now. This is the pulpit where traditionally the priest or the celebrant will give the sermon. On the right side we have the lectern. It's from here that the lay readers, the priest and congregants give readings from the scriptures, first from the Hebrew scripture and later from the New Testament. It's also used for praying the collect and sometimes for other purposes as well. This one is used much more frequently than the pulpit. We have one pew over here for use by acolytes or other service, sometimes by visiting priests during the service. As you can see back here, this is the space for the choir or the musicians. Now, if you follow me to the other side, here we have the other pew. This one's generally used by the celebrant and any other priests or deacons who are assisting the celebrant, but that sometimes depends on how many people are participating in the service. Here we have the baptismal font. Many parish churches keep the baptismal font near the front of the church or near the entrance of the church. In our parish we keep it here next to the sanctuary. As you'll see, we have two altars here in the sanctuary. This altar, the Lord's table, is where the priest will bless and consecrate the Holy Sacrament. This is the main working space of the priest, if you like, whereas behind me we here have the fixed altar. Traditionally, here at the altar rail is where the congregants would come to kneel before receiving the Holy Sacrament. However, in our particular parish, we tend not to use the altar rail anymore. We did prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, but the congregants now gather in the nave, at the front of the nave, to receive the sacrament. After the acolyte has set up the altar, the next job is to light the candles for the service. As we see, we have various candles here. We have one candle here on this altar. We also have two altar candles on the fixed altar here at the back.